This is democracy in action. Congresswoman Pelosi is here to report on actions in Washington, D.C. and regarding Iraq, fighting terrorism, and the protection of our civil liberties. Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi.
Our first responsibility as elected officials is to protect the American people, to make them safe, whether it's for our whole country or in our neighborhoods. And in doing so, we have to also understand, as we protect and defend the American people, that we protect and defend our Constitution. This war in Iraq, as I have said from the start, has been, in my view, a grotesque mistake. It's really a tragedy. Really a tragedy. This was a war of choice. So we have a war of choice, a preemptive strike. You better be prepared. Never in the intelligence did it say that whatever Saddam Hussein had was a threat to the United States. It was not a national security threat to us. We had plenty of time to find out the facts. Instead, we had a preemptive strike. Again, based on intelligence which said weapons, but never said an imminent strike. And that representation to the American people was not on the level, in my view. And let me just say this, when we talk about Iraq and terrorism and the rest, Iraq was not a hotbed of terrorist activities. It posed no threat to the United States. I'll conclude with this and then hear from you. It posed no national security threat to us. They tried to say that it was part of, complicit in 9/11. The facts just do not bear that out. They tried to say that it was a threat to our country from a standpoint of terrorism. It simply was not before the president went in. Now, terrorists are in Iraq. And what we have to do is let the Iraqis take care of that situation for themselves.
I think it's very brave of her. I mean, she's obviously enjoys getting direct feedback and contact with constituents, and more political leaders should do this. I think it's great.
This one from Medea Benjamin.
Medea.
Will you lead, and that word is underscored, the Democratic Party to take an anti-war position, including cutting new funds for deployment and supporting, as a party, John Murtha's bill for withdrawal?
On the subject of funding, because I see that not only does Medea have a question, but we have some questions here. And thank you again for your enthusiasm as a member of Congress. I am not prepared to say to the troops who were there, the policy that you were sent into war is one that is a flawed one. No, I'm saying to them, I'm not prepared to say to them, even though it is a flawed one, that you shouldn't be protected, that you shouldn't be protected. So at this point, I have to say to you in all candor, I would not be saying that I will not support supplying the troops with what they want. No. No, I appreciate that you as advocates can say that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's not dissolve into a shouting match here.
That's okay, that's okay, that's okay. No, but the fact is that the money is for the troops. And I am not going to vote against, at this time, supporting our troops when they don't have the equipment that they need. Fine. Next question. Let's go. Go ahead. Just go.
If she was any further to the left, she couldn't be the House leader, and if she was any further to the right, she couldn't represent California.
And we're having a long session on just what I talked about, which will not be open to the press, so that we can talk more freely about the law, the practice, and so the American people will understand what is at stake, in this important debate. Hello?
This is the way we know we're in San Francisco.
And we love it.
President Bush took an oath to defend the country and the law. He withdrew forces needed in Afghanistan, withheld protective armor needed by our troops in Iraq. He has committed numerous violations of international law, the Constitution, and statutes of the United States. Are these not high crimes and misdemeanors suitable to include in articles of impeachment?
To all of you who are concerned about these issues, I urge you to channel your energy into the 2006 elections, and that is the way you will make change in our country. Okay.
I thought it was really weak. I mean, they should happen. They both should happen. Yes, we should focus on the electoral process, and we are focusing on the electoral process. But when there's a violation of the law consistently, to not think that that's grounds for impeachment just kind of seemed really weak to me.
I love Nancy Pelosi. I think she's an incredible congresswoman, and so in that way, I feel badly for her having to put up with all the people who were here and causing a ruckus. But at the same time, those are my people, are the people who are causing a ruckus, and that's an important part of the dialogue too, because they need to have a forum like this in which they can express their views, and the press doesn't cover it. So if it can be connected to something like a town hall meeting, then so be it. The information still gets out there. Now, some people take it a little too far, but you know.
This is another rigged town hall. We had questions. Representative Pelosi, why did you vote against deployment of forces why did you vote against deployment of forces be terminated immediately? Of course, that's never addressed. These are all soft questions. This is a rigged thing, and I submit to you this will be the only exposure we'll get from Nancy Pelosi in this entire election, this one right here.
Do these town hall meetings actually bring about a connection with our representatives just by having their ear for a couple of hours? Or do they really just give an artificial sensation of democracy in action? As crazy as it seems, this might just be the best part of America. The things the politicians say we were fighting wars for. The right to meet with other citizens, the right to tell it like it is, and ultimately the right to have influence over our government through the power of a single vote.